kids. How are you? I hope you're feeling good and you're staying positive out there. I'm going to read a Christmas book for you in just a minute, but I do want to tell you that since it's almost December 1st, it's time to write our letters to Santa. But remember, since social distancing and COVID, they couldn't have as many elves in the workshop this year, so try not to ask for too much because there's a lot less toys than normal. But don't worry, everybody will get at least one. And when Grandma and Grandpa and when your aunts and uncles ask you what you want for Christmas because it's been a very tough year, try not to ask for too much. Santa will see that and mark you on the good list for being sweet and thoughtful. But if you don't have a fancy mailbox, you can ask your parents. You can put it in your real mailbox, or if you don't want to do that, you can just put it under your pillow. Santa is very clever, and he gets letters in all kinds of crazy ways. You can put it on your mantle above your fireplace as well, or in your stocking, or in your Christmas tree. Just ask your parents, and they'll show you where to put it. All right. Now, with that said, we're going to read today. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. I will read it first, and then I will show you the pictures, okay? Ooh, it looks like wrapping paper. Can you see? Probably not. It's not good lighting in here. I like it a little dark. Yes, Virginia, there's a Santa Claus. I want to tell you a story. This story happened a long time ago. This story happened more than 100 years ago. Oh my God, that's a lot. It is about a little girl named Virginia O'Hanlon. Oh, he looks like Santa without a suit. Doesn't he? It's pretty sad that we can't sit on Santa's lap this year. So make sure you get those letters in. One day in 1897, when Virginia was 8 years old, she asked her dad about Santa. She wanted to know if he was real. She had begun to doubt Santa Claus because her friends had told her that Santa did not exist. Oh no, don't listen. You always believe in Santa. I'm an adult, I still believe in Santa. Virginia's dad was named Dr. Philip O'Hanlon. Dr. O'Hanlon knew that Santa Claus was real, but wanted to reassure Virginia. So he suggested she write to the newspaper and ask them the same question. Virginia lived in New York City. At that time in New York City, there was a newspaper known as The Sun, and it was very popular. So she decided to write The Sun a letter. I live in New York. I heard this story when I was little. They printed a story like this in current newspaper called the New York Times. Oh, here's her writing a letter with her kitty. Do you have a pet out there? I have 2 pets. I have a doggy and a kitty, and they fight all the time. When the Sun received the letter, it was given to a man named Francis P. Church so that he may answer Virginia. Virginia's letter and Mr. Church's response were both printed in the newspaper. These 2 letters were so special and so meaningful that people still read them and know about them to this day, like me. Here is exactly what it said. See, this is the newspaper man. It arrived, he read it, and this is the postman getting it to the newspaper man. This is like the editor of the newspaper. The one that decides what they print. That's an important job. It says, is there a Santa Claus? We take pleasure in answering at once and thus prominently the communication below, expressing at the same time our great gratification that its faithful author is numbered among the friends of the Sun. Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say there is no Santa Claus. Papa says, if you see it in the Sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Virginia O'Hanlon. There's a lot of big letters in the first part, but basically she wrote the newspaper and she said, if you tell me that Santa is real and you print it in the newspaper, then it has to be true. Because back then, everything was mostly true in the newspaper. I wouldn't trust the paper these days. Ask your parents about that. Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by the skepticism of a skeptical age. Skepticism is people saying that Santa is not real and not being able to believe in magic. They do not believe except what they see. They think that nothing can bewitch it is not comprehensible by their little minds. So basically, if they don't see Santa Claus, they don't believe he's real. But the newspaper is saying there is a Santa Claus. This is Virginia telling all of her friends that told her that Santa wasn't real what the newspaper said. All minds, Virginia, whether they be men's or children's, are little. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, an ant in his intellect, as compared with the boundless world about him, as measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole truth and knowledge. Basically, that means all of our minds are small because we all have something to learn. Every day there's something new to learn. And if we all knew everything about everything, our brains would be so big we wouldn't be able to hold it up. This is her reading a letter in her house. That's a long time ago. They said some big words to little kids back then. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. And you know that as they abound and give to your life in highest beauty of joy. So they're saying yes. Santa Claus is real. Santa Claus is the holiday spirit, the spirit of giving, of love, of sharing, and making other people happy. Alas, how dreary would be the world if there was no Santa Claus. It would be as dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. So, Santa Claus has to exist, because if he doesn't, then nobody would dream, nobody would have an imagination, nobody would be creative without Santa. Not believe in Santa Claus, you might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire men to watch in all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus, but even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not, but there's no proof that they are not there. Nobody can conceive or imagine all the wonders that are unseen and unseeable in the world. Basically, he's saying, of course Santa is real. Just because people wait up all night trying to catch Santa and they never see him. What's the golden rule, kids? We all know it now. Santa won't come unless you're all asleep. So he'll just drive by your house if you're still awake and come back when you're sleeping. That's why nobody ever catches Santa. Doesn't mean he's not real, kids. You may tear apart the baby's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, but there is a veil covering the unseen world, which not the strongest men, nor even the united strength of all the strongest men that ever lived, could tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love, romance can push aside that curtain and view the picture, the supernal beauty and glory beyond it. It is real. Ah, Virginia, in all this world there is nothing else real and abiding. Believe, even if you don't see. There is magic around us all the time. No Santa Claus. Thank God he lives, and he lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times, 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the hearts of childhood. Which is very true. This is 100 years ago, and we still believe in Santa and his sleigh. He was right, the Sun reporter guy. So now you know Virginia's story. I hope you liked the letter from Mr. Church at the newspaper. I loved it, and I know Virginia loved it too. Yes, all the kids loved it. We even hear about it in New York still to this day. The end. I read this, my grandpa read me this story when I was very little, and he told me about it. He wasn't 100 years old, but his parents were alive when the letter was printed. It's a true story. And now, still to this day, we have kids that write into the newspaper about Santa. But this was the first little girl, Virginia, who ever wrote to a newspaper asking if Santa was real, and a real story was printed. So I hope you liked it. Tells you a little bit about the history. The next book will be more entertaining, but you know I always like to teach you a little of history. So hope you enjoyed it. Be kind to everybody. Santa is watching. And if you want those good gifts, you gotta be good, not just at the holiday time, but all year round. And get those letters to Santa very, very soon. Love you all.